Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, Red Raiders, Ducks, the Orange Bowl, what it's all about, and also what else it's all about.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now the number one sports podcast network in the world, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. Thanks as always for making us your first listen. And today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you once again. Now on Orange Bowl Eve, Orange Bowl double Eve squared is upon us. Red Raiders, Ducks on the minds today, and I want to dive in a little further between the lines with you today. And I want to get to some things standing out to you, of course, generally about the matchup, but specifically in what seems to be driving, 99% of the conversation among text with Matador mobsters or between Red Raider fans and Duck fans, say in the YouTube comments or elsewhere, generally in the trenches as far as what Oregon has been able to do with their rushing attack, what Texas Tech has been able to do in limiting the opposition's rushing attack. Always a great idea for any team, any matchup, any game. Run the ball, stop the run, maybe kill the quarterback if you got a little spare time. But are they right? Are they wrong to really boil it down to that area? And what else will tell the rest of the story? So we know in general, from a football perspective, a lot of things going to be determined by who can run the football, who can stop the run, Chris. But do you really feel like that is the most prominent aspect of what we could see play out or make the difference in Miami? Is there something else that stands out largely? Where would we begin that conversation?
So your ability to stop the run is going to factor in heavily into this game. You don't say, right? Is that what we're picking up? That's what a lot of people are suggesting. Huh? Interesting.
Breaking.
Yeah, that's right. I think that is. I think that is dead on, and I'm going to tell you why. I think that with all the bells and whistles any offense may try out there this season with Shieldwood as the coordinator, this quarterback, that first round wide receiver, this crazy speed QB run game, and like with Avery Johnson and all that stuff. There's been all these things that, yet he never fails to say, biggest thing about, hey, we got to stop the run first. And it's always just kind of thrown in there where you're like, well, yeah, I know, but what about this other stuff? What about this other fancy shiny toy that we know? But that's how Coach Wood has, portrayed the whole thing. And it sounds boring, but here's why he says it. And you are tops in the country, 68 yards a game, and you've never really wavered. Teams get you occasionally early in games, maybe with a few things, but once he kind of sees what you're doing, it's like, the adjustment or adjustments are made, and then here you go. In Oregon's case, got all these fancy wideouts. Maybe their best one is going to play for the first time this weekend or this week. Hadn't played all year. Got the best tight end in the country. Got this NFL draft pick at quarterback. But the most important thing is stopping the run. And in Oregon's case, they are, you ready? 25-0 in the last two seasons when they run for 100 yards or more. They are 0-2 when they fail to achieve the 100-yard marker. Ohio State last year, Indiana this year. You think the stopping the run may be fairly important? I would say you would be correct, all of you. And if you don't think it won't be, you should join this club because it will be everything. And Oregon does it in a variety of different ways. All of the eye candy, all of the explosiveness. Here's something else I really want to get off my chest as it relates to this game too. How much have Texas Tech fans heard about the explosiveness from Oregon. Explosive, the vertical down the field. They got this bell and whistle and this, nice looking receiver. And there's just so many of them. They got 3 running backs, maybe even 4. They got this tight end. They got all these receivers, so many of them. And they just all put up numbers and all that stuff. And like, there's just so many options to choose from. Like, how will you ever stop them? I would like to say to somebody that will listen, Texas Tech is second in the country with explosive plays of 20 yards or more with 90. Second in the country, 90 plays of 20 yards or more, explosives, okay? This is how analytics or how whatever. Who's first in the country? It's Oregon. You know how many more plays they have than you of 20 yards or more? 1. So I would like for the explosiveness of Texas Tech to be brought up some too. That's all I'm saying. But don't kid yourself. You are as explosive as Oregon is. I know maybe they're guys because they wear chrome helmets or they wear a different uniform or whatever. I mean, and they certainly are a made brand, and they deserve a lot of that. There's a lot of star rankings with a lot of their skill players, and Kenyon Sadiq is going to be arguably the best skill player you will have seen all year. If it's not him, it's probably Jordan Tyson, the Arizona State wide receiver. But you are also explosive. But who's not necessarily explosive on Thursday? Defenses may have something to say about that, obviously. So anyway, I've got a few more things too that I wanted to get to, but those were some.
Well, and I think it's always interesting in the way that I've heard Joey McGuire and some others describe defensively earning the right to rush the passer, which I think translates to beginning with forcing them into passing situations and kind of putting them behind the chains. And obviously some negative plays in the ground game would do you some favors there as well. So we think a lot about wanting to unleash guys like Height or Bailey or whoever it might be, Chris, but a lot of times you got to, I guess, set yourself up for those situations, and that begins with limiting what they're doing in the ground game.
I'm not so sure that I think you can play this game a variety of different ways, like as far as like arguing it or talking it out. I'm not so certain that David Bailey won't be the most important player for you on Thursday when you kick this thing off. And here's why. I think that Dante Moore has been really good all year. He's a playmaker. I think he's grown from that Indiana game. I think his coach has talked about that. I think he sees it a bit differently. I think he's probably seen every different coverage and all those things. Has he seen an edge player like David Bailey, who's projected to be a top 10 or 15 pick in the draft? And oh, by the way, if you start looking at some of these mock drafts that are out there, Romello Height, the other edge player, is also starting to be first round conversation. But if these two guys, because again, we're talking about you just need your rush defense to do what it's done. Well, what if it's not? What if this is the one game? What if there's just too much time off? What if we weren't? You didn't see enough physical practicing since the last time you played, and it takes you a bit to kind of ease in, and by then it's too late. I mean, these are all the things that everybody's got to be thinking about. But if you can't move Dante Moore around a bit, i.e., pressure him, and there's some semblance of run game, it's that's a problem. So David Bailey needs to be the most important player for you, in my opinion. I think that Dante Moore will make a mistake if he's pressured. He did so against James Madison. He certainly did so against Indiana. And then it was, well, I don't want to throw it to the wrong team, so maybe I just eat a sack. And he got sacked 6 times. So your edge, and I'd be willing to bet you that Sheil Wood will show him a variety of different things. I thought it was interesting because against BYU, you blitz Bryce Polak off the edge. Hadn't really seen that much, but I think that we have even seen Romello dropping in coverage is like looking like he's kind of mugged up and looking like he's gonna come after you up the middle, and then he drops back into coverage. We've seen the one that just blows my mind is when you say, because I will say Isaiah World is an NFL left tackle. Okay. And he's a guy that you were kind of flirting with trying to get and all that in the portal last year. And then Alex Harkey is the right tackle from Texas State. I think he's probably the weaker link. Okay. I'm not like trying to, I just think that he's got some, there's some potential wins there for you. But the one that I'm waiting on is when Sheil Wood, and maybe he won't do it, but I bet that at some point, especially if you keep playing over the next game or three, that you're going to see this at some point. What do you do if like you're Alex Harkey and you line up David Bailey and Romello Height on the same side, and you kind of there used to be that poster from the Portland Trailblazers years ago. It was a Nike poster, and it had Terry Porter on one side, and it had Jerome Kersey on the other, and Clyde Drexler on the other. And in the bottom of the Nike poster, it just said "uh-oh." So I just always, because not everybody had it. Everybody had Sean Kemp and Michael Jordan and all that, but I kind of like the off the radar, Terry Porter running the break, and it's like Jerome Kersey and Clyde Drexler if it's the dunk on my head. Well, what do you do when you're on one side and you got Bailey and Height staring at you? That's right. So I don't know what bells and whistles you get, but I think David Bailey, and I'm stating an obvious, but there can't be a plan B here, because if you remember the Utah game.
First, today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly feel the call of the stadium. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. And with the money you save on tickets, you can then splurge on foods, drinks, gear, and more. Gametime makes it all possible. And best of all, Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get the first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. And if you're like me, you get tired of endless scrolling trying to find the best deal, and that's why Gametime's Zone Deals is the go-to move, since it automatically picks the best seats in your section for you at the best price. And as always, you can get a view from your seat right there in the app, so before you buy, you know exactly what you're going to see. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use our code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked on College, for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. Today's episode brought to you by Open Door Financial. And if you're a Red Raider balancing family and career, you've probably thought about your financial future, retirement, getting out of debt, leaving a legacy for your kids. But here's the thing, most financial advisors just trying to sell you something, hit a quota, or they only work with clients who have huge investment minimums. And that's not how it should be done. That's where Open Door Financial Advisors comes in, doing things differently. They were founded by a 2007 Texas Tech graduate right here in Lubbock, and they've spent over 15 years serving Red Raider families across the nation with one simple mission: helping you gain financial freedom and peace of mind, no matter where you're starting from. And Chris, you've got a long relationship with Open Door Financial Advisors, and that's the thing they really love doing most, being Red Raiders that help out Red Raiders.
Yeah, Derek Finley, man, he is one of us. He is a Texas Tech guy that really wants to help Texas Tech people, and it doesn't matter where you live either, because I think he's got clients from all over. But he is based in Lubbock, and it doesn't matter. But if you're trying to get out of debt, or you're trying to how do I get wealthy and secure my future by saving? He can handle anything in between, all of it. But yeah, check him out. But yeah, Derek's good people, and he's a Red Raider. He's been on this journey for many years as it relates to Texas Tech. So
he knows what you're going through.
Yes.
And they work on a subscription-based fee-only model, which means they're never earning commissions on anything they're selling you. So there's no hidden agendas, no investment minimums, just straightforward advice. So whether, like Chris said, it's organizing investments, crushing debt, or building a legacy that goes beyond just money, they're ready to help families of all needs and resources, all while living by West Texas values, truth and grit. So if you're ready to work toward your big horizon, visit Open Door FA. That's opendoorfa.com to connect with Open Door Financial Advisors. Honest guidance for Red Raider families who want to take care of what matters most.
Because if you remember the Utah game against those elite tackles, it wasn't that Bailey and Height were so effective with pressuring the quarterback. They were very effective in the run game and tackling in the flats. The quick game, it was like, and Oregon will live in this area. They throw it and jet sweeps and get it to the perimeter because their people are typically faster than everybody else. Okay, and that is typically worked. But that's where these two, and maybe it's not as much of a pass rush per se. It's just as much as kind of tackling well and all that. But when you do get the opportunity to rush the passer, you better darn sure do it and do it so effectively. He needs to feel you. He needs to know that you're there.
I think there has been kind of I don't know, at least at some points this year, curiosity or maybe a doubt about Texas Tech defensively standing up to a really physical kind of challenge. I sort of feel like and I mean that as far as like a really physical ground game or your pass rushers maybe not necessarily being up to snuff in that area versus what they can do, going after the quarterback. I feel like they answered some of those questions. I remember going into the BYU game, we talked about all their size, and you had no trouble limiting what they were able to do. I thought against Utah, like you're already pointing to there, you answered some of those physicality questions.
Yeah.
How do you even describe Oregon in that regard? Is it more?
That's not your problem. I don't worry about that at all. I think you've answered every question. Here's what worries me because of what Oregon can do or does or whatever. Here's what I've thought a lot about. They've had plenty of time to get ready for you. You have with them. They are, and this is where, like how much time is Will Stein focused on this, or is he worried about Big Blue Nation? I don't know. I hope he's worried about Big Blue Nation. I mean, hey, go Kentucky, man. I'm all for it. He's taken multiple coaches with him and all the things, right? But typically Oregon, because of the variety of weapons that they have, a variety of people can beat you. It's not like, say, BYU, where it's like, man, it really needs to be LJ Martin, and whatever we get from this guy is gravy. And LJ's got to be a part of it, or we can. And obviously, they just had a good game against Georgia Tech the other day. But there's a trio of backs. There's a quartet or quintet of wideouts. There's an NFL tight end. I worry that what if at a certain point in the game, or hopefully not multiple, they get a matchup that they want. They get a Ben Roberts on somebody that is not a favorable matchup for you in coverage. They get Brendan Jordan isolated out there in a spot on an island. If they get, Amir Boyd or Dante Balfour or a John Curry, I mean, you just don't know. It's like one of these. I don't worry about Bryce Pollock. I don't worry about, you could even throw Jacob Rodriguez in there. If it's the wrong matchup and they kind of have you in a one-on-one situation, like, a wheel route, or I don't know, that part, because any one of 5 or 6 guys on the field for a play is good enough to burn you. And there will be times when some of these guys get not picked on, but get isolated to where they better be able to win that one-on-one matchup. I don't worry about David Bailey, generally speaking, winning his one-on-one matchups over time. But in these cases, I'm talking about it just takes the once.
Yeah.
That part worries me. And not everybody else has been good enough to exploit that. I mean, some of these other teams, they have one good back, they have one good wideout. Well, let's focus in on, or Oregon's got a bunch of them. And that part, does give me pause for sure.
Well, there are all kinds of things obviously going to make a difference in this game. If we weren't just focused on maybe some of those aspects up front as far as moving the ball on the ground or trying to stop that, are we immediately thinking about something maybe from a special teams perspective? Because that's also something that obviously is kind of under discussed, it seems like, going into every game or elsewhere. Chris, what stands out to you that maybe is not getting quite as much attention as the things we've talked about so far? First, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, and football is in full force, and FanDuel's keeping you stocked with action every game day with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet only $5, and if your bet hits, you're getting $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. Any way you like it, FanDuel has you covered. Quick, easy, and secure every time. If you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
This is obviously a big Behren Morton game, okay? Like, well, duh, right? Yes, Captain Obvious, I get it. I think he will be a lot more spry in this game. I think that he will be able to extend plays in this game, maybe at a level that we haven't seen in several weeks or much of this year, just because I think he'll feel a bit better. Now, again, Oregon's legit up front now. But the one thing that they don't do or they haven't hung their hat on this year is they don't get to the quarterback much. They average, between 1 and 2 sacks a game. I think they're like 75th or 80th in the country there. They're just really stout, right? And you may struggle to run the ball as well, but it's just going to be incumbent upon Behren to make some plays, extend some plays on some third downs. And again, back to the obvious, like you got to be done with the drops. You just have to be. This game is going to be one in the margins, and you may not get another shot at it.
Who knows what's going to spin this game one way or the other. And we've talked about so many different things, Chris, and we'll have some more thoughts on the final episode prior to kickoff. So I won't make you empty your bucket all the way to the bottom just yet. But it has crossed my mind. The big game, big lights, biggest stage component of this matchup. Oregon has been in it. They are practiced in it. Texas Tech is not. Is that something from an internal perspective it's even embraced, brought up, ignored? You're shaking your head. Am I angering you to even asking about it?
No. I don't buy. I think you have a very serious, locked-in team. We kind of said maybe they were even more interested in leaving and getting to Miami, Florida, of all places, a bit later than earlier, because they're kind of focused and just want to kind of roll and play ball and figure out a way to go to Atlanta the following week. This is an NFL stadium, but you're going to be in front of 20,000 fewer people than you were for the Big 12 championship game. I don't envision that at all. There's not going to be any more TV cameras there. I don't care whether Oregon is. I mean, I think they're wearing white with the wings on the helmet. There's not. I don't get into. I don't think that's a. If you were playing Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, I would probably lead some credence to that. I probably would. I would. And if you play, Indiana or Bama in Atlanta. I don't know. I just think this team is just different. I just think they're so. I don't worry about that. Not even a little bit. Been there before. Not. I mean, the BYU game at home was massive. We felt it. The BYU game there was massive. The Utah game up at you've been a part of the Big Noon kickoff, and you've been part of the College Game Day. You've seen all the stuff. It's time to hoop, man. I mean, that's where we're at. Yeah.
Well, and I'm glad you brought some of those days up, because I do kind of feel like there have been some moments this year where you thought this is the biggest stage we've been on, whether that's a yet or whatever. The day against BYU felt that way. Certainly a Big 12 title game felt that way, and you've lived up to it so far. And I think a lot of that maturity and hopefully that seasoning on this roster as far as veteran experience is going to be of great benefit to you in this instance as well. It's just a strange sequence as you got the layoff. You got the biggest stakes you've probably ever played for or within in your football career, all converging in Miami, Florida. Chris, we got one more go around before we get ready for this one coming up New Year's Day morning. Looking forward to it. It's almost here. I can feel the electricity growing. My hair is close to standing on end. Looking forward to talking it out a little bit more with you, and we'll see you then.
Well, and the next time I visit with you, man, I'll be South Beaching it. So say a prayer for me. Wish upon me some hydration. I don't know what ventures I may get into, but yeah, I'll talk to you from South Beach next time we visit. Looking forward to that.
Absolutely. And looking forward to some Chris level South Beach fashion, possibly making an appearance just to mix it up a little bit.
Some sunglasses, and I'll have to unbutton another button on the shirt and go buy a gold necklace, and I don't know what all may happen.
You and DJ Khaled, I'm thinking something along those lines.
Yeah.
You look good in a pair of shorts, I'm sure. Chris, appreciate you and appreciate everybody out there for joining us for this conversation. If you stayed to the end for that visual, God bless you. That's why you stayed at the end of the show. Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. Thank you to the everydayers for always riding along in the Matador Mob. Hit our show notes and find a link to a free 14-day trial. That's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text and straight to your phone. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks as always for the time. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.